Well, a 1970s era terrorist convicted of murder could be once again teaching college kids right here in the U.S. This week, the Board of Trustees at the University of Illinois will consider rehiring James Kilgore. He previously served as an adjunct professor at the school, but his contract expired. Before that, he spent 6 years behind bars for his role in a deadly bank robbery. In 1975, he and his Symbionese Liberation Army comrades robbed banks to finance guerrilla warfare in support of a communist revolution in the U.S. During one heist, a customer was murdered. The 42-year-old mother of four bled to death on the floor of the bank. Kilgore was on the run for nearly 3 decades until he was caught in 2002 and convicted of second-degree murder. Rachel, how do people like this get jobs? I mean, we've seen it with Bill Ayers. We've seen, it seems the only place that will welcome them with open arms is academia, and parents are paying a lot of tuition money to have someone like this feed kids garbage.
Absolutely. First of all, am I surprised? No, our colleges and universities are teeming with radical liberals. They believe in diversity of everything: religion, sexuality, race, everything except diversity of thought. And here is what's interesting. We have historic majorities. The conservatives have historic majorities in the state legislatures. And so through appropriations, through Board of Trustees, we have the ability as citizens to demand that these are state-run schools. It's our tax dollars. We have the ability to demand that, and people should be up in arms. This is a calling card for everybody to get involved at the state level, because this is what they do. They want to indoctrinate our children. And also, by the way, alumni dollars, tuition dollars, your money talks.
Yeah, I think you're educating a lot of people on that point. I don't think that people know the power that they have with regard to that.
Well, as the oldest person on this set right now, by far, I would say this.
Well, thank you for saying that.
I would say I grew up in the 70s, and I remember the Symbionese Liberation Army. They kidnapped Patty Hearst, and Patty Hearst was the heiress of the Hearst newspaper family, and you know, they kidnapped her, they tortured her. I don't know this gentleman's role in that whole thing, or his role in this, but it strikes me as 6 years in jail is a little light on the sentencing side for someone that was at least tangentially involved in a murder. And I will say this, as someone who's been to college and watched the PC network work, it is, people like this are applauded on college campuses, while someone like Condoleezza Rice, someone like Condoleezza Rice,
or Ayaan Hirsi Ali is not allowed to speak.
Is attacked on college
Charlie,
campuses.
I don't even understand where you're taking this conversation.
Where I'm taking?
Is our pool of talent that thin?
Hello.
That we have to rehire this man to teach at our universities?
I'm outnumbered, but I'm not. I'm not.
I'm just sorry. I don't even know why you're trying to rationalize it.
Don't pose that to me.
Okay.
Pose that to. I'm with
As a
you.
speaker, what does he offer? Because you can learn about communism in a book.
What does Bill Ayers offer?
Frankly, his mugshot was scary enough. I don't know if I want him teaching.
What does Ward Connerly offer as a professor at the University of Colorado? They offer nothing but radicalism. And radicalism on these college campuses is celebrated.
It's pervasive.
Compared to the sort of, think about Condoleezza Rice, who's attacked on these college campuses. She's about as middle as a road, maybe right of center as you get. I mean, she's mainstream. She's attacked. Ward Connerly is celebrated. This lunatic is celebrated.
But I mean, the energy that's going into supporting this man's return to the university. I mean, in my home state and in my home city of Chicago, the Kilgore supporters that are coming out signing petitions for this man to be employed again by the university. Isn't there somebody else to support?
There's a lot of morons out there too. You have to.
And it comes down to somewhat ignorance too.
Yes.
Maybe people who book him just don't even know their history well enough to understand that this is as much a terrorist as anybody who we are hunting in the Middle East right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there's a lot of parental ignorance on this issue too. I think parents need to be really aware of where they're sending their checks to. Now, last night's concert for Valor on the National Mall was intended to honor our service members on Veterans Day. But some notable musicians are now feeling the heat for choosing to perform the late 1960s anti-war anthem, Fortunate Son. Now, Bruce Springsteen, Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters, and Zac Brown all sang the Creedence Clearwater Revival tune with lyrics that take shots at the government and the Vietnam War. Now, adding to the outrage, rapper Eminem also performed, dropping more than a dozen F-bombs. Here they were, keeping it classy.
Make some noise for Rihanna. DC, happy Veterans Day.
So, Harris.
I think the brief is actually worse than the word. I mean, it's just like, it's so brain jarring. Come on, you book Eminem.
An anti-war theme at a veterans concert. Are these Hollywood stars and singers? Are they just out of touch, or is it Starbucks and HBO that were the sponsors?
I think you can check every box there. I mean, I think the people are just tone deaf on what the day means, period. But aside from that, you book Eminem, what do you think you're going to get? I mean, it's not like it was shocking he's going to drop 15 or so F-bombs. But the anti-government, the anti-Vietnam War lingo, I mean, it was just...
And the context.
Yeah,
I mean,
the context
where
of it on Veterans Day. I mean, you just kind of take it in its totality and you check every box. Where is the level of accountability?
It's amazing to me that nobody, think of all the people that are involved in a concert like this.
Exactly.
Nobody had the brains to stop and say, you guys might want to pick a different song. And you know, Bruce Springsteen does a lot for our troops. I love Dave Grohl, I love the Foo Fighters, but there were so many other songs they could have picked. And Eminem, I'm just so over the swearing. We get it. You talk about hitting women, you talked about hitting your ex-wife Kim. Get some new material. I just think it's ridiculous, the dropping of the F-bombs. It's played out, Eminem.
And it's so fake. I mean, it's no offense, but is Eminem really a tough guy? I mean, you know, he brags about beating up his girlfriend.
That hat looks pretty
you know, and it's, you know, listen, I'm a radical when it comes to the First Amendment. And as someone who's dropped an F-bomb every now and then, as people do.
No.
You and I talk about this. They had to get a permit to do this. This is not outside the bounds of the law.
It's cable. It's not like regular TV where you can't say this stuff. But, you know, you got to give it a little context. And I think we should hold Starbucks' feet to the fire. We should hold HBO's feet to the fire. And say, why did you sponsor something that essentially spit on our troops in some ways? And I remember, like in the 70s, when the radical left spit on Vietnam vets. We shouldn't allow that ever to happen again.
Well, and remember that those companies put these performers in the face of families and children across America.
Elderly veterans.
Listen, I don't hold the musicians accountable. I don't. They are who they are. We know their politics. Yeah, but you know what? That's not my job. You know, they're allowed to say whatever they want to say. It was the people who hired them, knowing that that's what they stand for, and that's their personality, and that's how
we should hold them all accountable. I mean, Bruce Springsteen thinks he's for the average guy, just attacked average men who went to war.
Eminem recently said, Harris, you brought up that Eminem said recently he wanted to hit a woman like Ray Rice did.
In the face. But you know what I didn't get? Yesterday, the CEO of Starbucks was out front on Veterans Day saying wonderful things about, let's not turn this into, you know, the day you get good deals on cars.
While he hands out free coffee?
And he was handing out free coffee. So, I mean, this just seems not just disingenuous, but really to fly in the face of what he was trying to say.
Maybe it's the way that his politics was able to leak through this corporate culture.
Or it's about money.
Yeah, I mean, he probably feels the same way. Maybe he feels the same way Bruce Springsteen does about the Vietnam War.
It's about money.
And this is about...
Listen, you can get that much of an audience, a dedicated lefty audience is what they want, kids, and you can make a lot of money from it. He knows that. I don't think Howard Schultz is essentially a left
No, he said a lot of beautiful things yesterday.
And he's a guy that came from very humble beginnings, and he started a Starbucks.
The guy convinced America to pay $5 for a cup of coffee.
Pretty smart, right?
My immigrant dad could not figure that out. He's like, $5 for a cup of coffee, $4 they should call it, not Starbucks. He goes, what are they putting in that coffee? It's such a hoax. Maryland's largest school district votes to strip references of religious holidays on school calendars after some Muslim leaders asked for equal recognition for one of their holy days. So was that the right move? Well, we'll let you decide. And the family of Ebola victim Thomas Duncan reaching a settlement to avoid a lawsuit against the hospital where he died. We'll have a live report as we await a statement from the hospital. And right after the show, it's that magical time. It happens right at 1 Eastern, Outnumbered Overtime. Log on to foxnews.com/outnumbered. Click the OT tab. Send us questions, comments. What do you want to hear us talk more about? Tell us. We'll do it.